Hey, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of College Hack. Today, we're doing an interview with Michael, who actually has knocked out 91 credits of Sophia in just 2 months and is now starting to take the final courses in his degree. We're going to talk about why he decided to hack college, how he managed to get so much Sophia done, and what he's looking to do with this degree. It's going to be great. Michael, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to sharing with everyone what this journey has been like so far.
We are super excited to hear it. So let's start from the beginning here. We were just talking about this before the call, but why did you need a bachelor's degree?
I've been in various leadership roles for much of the past 20 years. And previously, if I was looking for a new job, I made a few phone calls and I had something. Well, with this downturn, everyone I usually called was looking as well. And it put me in a rather precarious situation. So I did what everyone's doing and I applied as much as I could on LinkedIn. I think I had gotten up to 600 applications out.
Dang.
And I was pretty dismayed by the sheer number of instant auto rejections I got because I didn't have a degree.
Basically, you were submitting the application and you were saying, here's my education. And then the robot who oversees it says, well, you don't have a degree. People have to have a degree, so we're just going to X you off automatically.
100%. And it makes sense with the amount of applications you're seeing come in. Low application rates are high hundreds. I've seen some in the low thousands.
Wow.
So if you've got that glut of talent in the pipeline, you have to start to make drastic cuts to your filtering criteria. Unfortunately, it meant I was filtered out of almost every one of those applications. So given the market, I started to look into going back to school. Thankfully, I discovered your program.
So you decided to go with College Hack. We can help you do a little, quite a bit faster and for a lot less money, right? And then you met with Lauren, one of our team members, about 2 months ago. And what school did you guys decide on you going to?
University of Maine at Presque Isle.
Yeah, what was the rationale behind that?
Meeting with Lauren and going through the pros and cons, the differences of each school, which probably saved me days of research online. But what led me to feel that University of Maine at Presque Isle was ideally suited for me was my learning style. I'm not somebody who thrives in an environment where I have to do a lot of filler work or busy work in between. I want to be able to learn at my own pace and then show an assessment or a test or some type of final product where we can gauge whether or not I understood it. And after hearing just what I liked in school and what I didn't, how I liked to learn and how I didn't, she opened my eyes to that program, which I hadn't even considered.
Yeah, a lot of people will say that, filler work is definitely kind of the curse of higher education, especially when you get online and their professors sit around thinking up courses and they're like, well, we've got to make sure that there's a lot of work to do, but this is a relatively simple subject. And so, let's make up 7 assignments as a way to see if they know it when really you only need one really good assignment. And the folks at UMPI are like, hey, yeah, we'll make this work. You just pass one final exam, one final project, and the class is yours and you move on. Now, I know you're just about to start classes with UMPI, but to get to the point where you were ready to do that, you had to knock out a lot of Sophia credits, a lot of alternative credits. And for anybody who doesn't know, Sophia is a third-party course provider where you pay $100 a month and you go through courses at your own pace and you just earn credits really fast. And in your case, insanely fast, 91 credits in 2 months. How is this possible?
A heck of a lot of focus. When I have free time, I watch documentaries, I read aggressively, and here I thought I was just acquiring all this useless knowledge. It really helped me when I jumped in. I didn't realize how much I had picked up on the job and how much I had picked up through just being genuinely interested in learning about the world around me. So I began kind of tentatively assuming that this would be a multi-month process at best. And I just found my rhythm and stride with how they present the information and the courses themselves. I completed 3 years worth of coursework in 2 months for $200. So not bad.
Not bad at all. A lot of people will question the validity, not not a lot of people, but some people, particularly professors back at the school I used to work with, they'd have a student who would skip college algebra because they did it on Sophia. And the professor would be like, this student knocked out in 4 hours. How is that fair? One thing that I would tell the professor, I don't work for Sophia, but I would defend it because I liked what they were doing. And I would say, well, A, your student probably came in with some knowledge of Sophia, and B, Sophia just certifies that the person knows it at a C's level worth of information. If they can pass Sophia, colleges kind of consider that C. How hard do C level students work in your college class? And the professor would be like, not very hard. And I'd be like, yeah, it's because to get a C in college, it doesn't actually take a lot of work. That's just kind of an average thing. You're used to students, going crazy and trying to get an A and all this stuff. That's all fine and good, but there's nothing wrong with what people are doing. And in your case, your whole story is a really great argument for this because you've spent a lifetime gaining knowledge and acquiring information about various topics. So it makes sense that you'd be able to go into a competency-based product like Sophia and just knock them out. But let's talk specifics here. So if you knocked out 91 credits in 2 months, what was the average amount of time you would say you spent per Sophia course?
It really came down to whether or not there were touchstones.
Yeah.
So for those watching who haven't, go ahead.
Oh, no, you got it, man. You got it.
For those watching who have not tried Sophia yet, some of the courses are milestone based and you test your way through. The touchstone ones require grading. So you write something, you submit it, and that process can take a few days. That definitely slowed me down a little bit. I would say on average, probably 6 to 8 hours a class.
That's great. And I'm assuming probably the ones with touchstones were on the higher end and those with just milestones, just exams were on the lower end.
Yeah, some of the touchstone ones, you're waiting for the grading or for feedback for refinements. Those always spread a few days. So I made sure to always take one touchstone at a time because you're allowed to take 2 courses. And then my milestone courses, I could move at my own pace while there was always a touchstone that was in process to be graded.
Oh, that's really smart. That way you're not hung up where you're waiting for 2 different touchstone courses to be graded and you're doing nothing. That is really smart. So as you were doing this, if somebody comes along and says, hey, I just need 15 credits to fill up my free electives, what are some of the easiest Sophia courses, or let's say the quickest Sophia courses?
Art History 2 was strangely easier than Art History 1.
Okay.
They were both, I would say, not the most challenging. I felt the technology courses were fairly easy. Anyone with a developer background, even if you're a junior developer going through the Python relational database, it was very straightforward. All in all, though, it gets really easy to identify what the shorter ones are likely to be if you just look at the number of milestones. One of the things I liked about the Sophia courses was I got an opportunity to hop in and kind of go through the syllabus before doubling down. And it helped me gauge where I felt a natural competence to be able to deliver versus something that maybe I knew was going to take a little bit longer and I needed to schedule accordingly.
That's good. So you're able to plan them out in advance then. Well, let me ask you, how many hours a day would you say you worked on average? So there were some days it sounds like you worked a full 8, but was that every single day for the past 2 months?
Some days were more.
Oh, yeah?
Sometimes, passions get you to go a little bit longer at night. And it feels good to know that you're getting your credits in the process. But my minimum was 8 hours a day every day.
That's the dedication, man. That's awesome. Just kind of as a wrap-up question then, Sophia course you hated the most and are glad you never have to take ever again, and Sophia course that you'll miss the most?
The course that I dislike the most is English.
Oh, okay.
And I withdrew from it and plan on taking it at UMPI.
Okay, great.
It just felt like a lot of busy work and a lot of touchstones, which would really delay my ability to move through courses. The course I will miss the most, surprising to me, but I really liked Spanish.
Oh, interesting. Both language based.
Felt like I actually learned in the process, which I genuinely enjoyed.
I'm glad you had such a good experience with Sophia. I'm glad you're able to knock out so many of them. If you had any advice for other people who are wanting to knock out a bunch of Sophia courses really quickly, what would be your top advice for them?
Abraham Lincoln once said that if you have 6 hours to chop down a tree, spend the first 4 sharpening your axe. the best thing you can do is open up all of the courses and look at what you have to do to get them done. I built a little spreadsheet and I went through and was able to size how complex they likely were or how involved they were based on that. It also goes a long way to get oriented on the outline of the syllabus. So when you do decide to dive in, spend some time to understand the full scope of what you're going to be learning. It helps with setting the context so you're not constantly wondering what's coming next. So I would always look at what the syllabus looked like, and if there were touchstones, what the touchstones look like before I started any of my coursework.
Oh, that is really good. Yeah. And again, I'll just highlight too that advice you gave earlier on about how you would have one course working at all times that was just milestones so you could keep moving forward, and then one course at all times that was touchstones so that you never got stuck waiting for something to get graded and couldn't be working on something else. That pure genius.
Thank you. And I did learn that from experience of getting log jammed. And the folks at Sophia were kind enough to tell me that if you're in a state where you've done all of the work and you're just waiting, they will open up a third course for you. You just have to email them.
I'm glad that they are showing such good customer service, that they took good care of you. And I'm really glad that you were able to come and hang out and chat. Thanks so much for being on, and we wish you all the luck moving forward.
Thanks for having me.